Bam. Bam. Hey, it's Friday night, and you are watching the Deerwood Realty live stream. Now, think about that. Think about that. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm not watching the Deerwood Realty live stream because I'm actually doing the Deerwood Realty live stream, so I can't watch it. But man, it's been a week, and today has been just hot and miserable here in St. Louis. Very humid. Always good to start a stream off with the weather forecast for someone that might not be watching this stream until like next year. But let me just say it's August 5th, 2022. I think the temperature was supposed to be about 87 degrees, but the humidity was like, I don't know, 70%. It was just terrible. Just terrible all day. I'm happy to be inside. I'm happy to be in the air conditioning, and I'm happy to be bringing my show to you. Now, we've got lots to talk about tonight. We're going to do a little bit of more of a free flowing stream. There's three things that I want to talk about, three stories I had, and then we'll get into some articles, real estate news. We'll do some commentary, and we'll go from there. But the key is that you're here and I'm here, and so that's going to be good enough. I'm having a lot more success lately with the streams, and I'm having a lot more success with the channel. And I don't know if it's because I've consolidated all the channels I had into one. I don't know if it's my content is considered more timely, more relevant. But man, if we keep this up, we might actually have something. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell anyone, share the videos, comment, subscribe, hit the like button, do whatever. Do we even have a like button anymore? I don't remember. But come on and let's have some fun. Let's talk about real estate stuff. Let's not be those weird people that are like real estate agent masterminds and, like they're in a cult. Like we have to make 17 phone calls to our gardener today, or else, we don't, our coach will yell at us. Let's not do that. Let's not be the guy that's like, hey, I'll show you how you can flip homes for a profit. And then, it's just not. I'll give you my money so you can flip homes with it. All kinds of strings attached to that money, but let's act like it's not. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy. Last night we went over Boomtown. I don't use Boomtown. I just went over it because it was interesting that they had a backlink to that lady in Iowa. I'm happy to go over like things that work in real estate, but I haven't found anything that works. So you're not going to see me shilling for a lot of products. In fact, you're not going to see me shilling for any products right now because the people that are asking me to shill for them are Bitcoin people. And I don't know anything about Bitcoin. So I don't think you should take that. I don't think you should take that advice from me. It just doesn't make any sense. So we're not going to do that. I guess some would say like, hey, John, why aren't you showing houses tonight? But I already showed houses today. So like, I'm good. And things have been better for me. I don't particularly know that it's the market as much as, I could not continue to have as much, fail as I was having. I mean, it was just, I had plenty of buyers. There was no reason why I couldn't get those buyers into the house. It was just every week I was having a difficulty with one thing after the other. And it was just like, my gosh, can't I catch a break? I'll tell you one that I learned today. I have these wonderful buyers, and they've been with me for, 6 months to almost a year now. And we've been looking at houses and making offers, and they're the nicest couple. And I wish them the best. We put an offer on our house about 35 days ago, and it went sold today. We offered $185, which was like $30,000 over asking. Somebody else offered $188, and they took that offer. Is it sad? Yes, we were so close, but sorry, I got an itchy ear. Here's the thing. I can't prove it to you. Okay. I'll never be able to prove it with numbers, but like somehow everyone gets what they want. Everyone gets that house that they want eventually. Some get a house and they don't even know they want it. but it all works out. If you follow the process that I advocate for, that I try to talk about, you will get a house that you want, and you will get a house that you will enjoy. And I think that's all you could ever hope for in life, really. I mean, if you are miserable where you live, that is going to affect your life in a number of different ways. So it wasn't their house. It wasn't going to be the house for them. We looked at some houses last weekend, and it was like, these are terrible. These are terrible. So, I mean, when the right house comes, the right offer comes, you will get a good house. I have a fellow that just got a house under contract this past weekend. Wonderful guy. Known him for a long time, and we were looking, and he was just angry at the process at one point in time when he had made an offer for quite a bit over asking, and just didn't find that success that he was expecting. And it was one of those things. He's one of those buyers that was very emotional. So whenever we didn't get a house that he wanted, he would sit there and be sad about it for days, weeks. He actually stopped looking for a month. And I think he went on vacation. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he came back with a renewed vigor. And we went and we looked, and we were looking for about 2 weeks, made a couple offers, and finally his house is ready for him. And so I couldn't be happier for him, and I couldn't be happy for you. Guys, if you have questions about real estate, I mean, residential, now don't ask me weird questions. Or you can, I guess, but I mean, don't ask me what I would call the social media questions. Should you buy or rent? Like, I don't know. Why don't you tell me? That's not really advice, but if you think that your real estate agent's shady, well, maybe we should ditch your real estate agent. If you think that your real estate agent's not competent, well, tell me some of the stuff that's going on. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're learning. Maybe they're just, something's just kind of wrong with them. Who knows? But let's talk about it. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. I feel like I have it set up pretty well with my buyers. We go through a little process. We always start with a pre-approval. We talk about, finding a location that they want to live in, and then narrowing it down and going and seeing a lot of houses, and finally settling on a house that makes sense for them. By the time you get done looking at houses with me, and you actually get a house under contract, you will feel pretty confident that that was the best price and the right price to pay at the right time for that home. You won't feel buyer's remorse. I pretty much guarantee it. So, yeah. But here's the deal. It's Friday night. It's late here in St. Louis. It's getting ready to be 9:00, and I'm live streaming. I've had a full day, and I'm pretty happy to just be able to put sentences together, to be honest with you. It's been a long day. I started my day helping my wife. She had an obligation in a place called Hematite. And for those of you who live in St. Louis and don't know where that is, it's kind of at the Festus exit at I-55. You take a right instead of a left, and then go down there for a while, and then get on Highway P, and you end up there. So we were in Hematite this morning. I had a building inspection, a house inspection at noon. My wife, after we did that work in Hematite, asked me if I wanted to go to breakfast / lunch, brunch. And so we had a wonderful meal together. And then I had to go do that inspection. I had to go with that inspection. So let's start there. We kind of hit on it last night, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on it. But, I think that it's important for a real estate agent to go to a buyer inspection and attend it personally. Now, many agents would say that's stupid. It's a waste of time. They're busy doing other deals or whatnot, or they're busy sleeping. But I think it's really, really important to go to your showings. Or go to your inspections. And so, in fact, I would take less clients if I had to, so that I could at least go to everyone's inspection. So if your agent doesn't have time to go to your inspection, what are they really doing for you? I mean, what are they doing to earn their commission? They found you a house to buy? I'm just asking. Like, if I get huge and there's like 20 people that need to see me in a day and I can't do an inspection, would I go? Yes, I would always go. But if I couldn't, I would send like one of my own agents, someone that I trusted to go with me, or on my behalf, because in a normal market, okay, you really need to have some perspective. You need to understand who your buyers are, and you need to understand the marketplace so that you can kind of bridge the gap and work with the sellers for an inspection, and try to get it resolved. And isn't that the goal? If your inspector writes up a report and you read it and you're like, oh my God, that's terrible, but he didn't really mean it that way, or you maybe have never worked with that inspector before, you could end up killing a deal for no reason. Well, the reason would be that you were lazy and didn't go to the inspection. So the other thing the reason why I want to go to the inspections is because I want my buyers to know that I'm with them, and they've never met the inspector. They don't know anything about this person. And so, if the inspector says, oh, well, this needs to be fixed, they don't know if that's like a dangerous situation or if that's just something relative to house maintenance that anybody would want to do. So I'm there, and what I try to do is I try to bridge the gap between the inspector and the buyers, because it's very, very off-putting if you're a buyer, okay, and you look, well, let's take a step back. Number one, there's a philosophy amongst real estate agents, some of them, that's like they don't even care about the quality of the house that their buyer makes an offer on. They don't even care because they know that the inspector is going to come in and say this house is terrible. To me, that's not doing your job as an agent, because let's just say an inspection costs $600. Okay. Why are you having your buyer put out $600 when the house is terrible? And like you already knew it. And if you don't know that a house is terrible and you don't know that it has a lot of problems, what are you doing in real estate? I mean, that's kind of your job. You kind of need to know a little bit about construction. I mean, who cares what color the wall is if you've got if you're looking at $20,000 worth of basement repairs or foundation repairs? I mean, it's obvious to me, but it's not obvious to those out there, I guess, because these agents get away with it all the time. But anyway, so my whole thing with buying a home, I mean, it already starts with, if there's something that we see in the house, that I notice, first of all, I tell my buyers, and second of all, I mean, that is maybe a reason not to put an offer in on the house. Why go through all the trouble? Now, this is me, okay? If I have a house and it's got a bad foundation, okay, and I'm representing the buyers, okay, could the buyer buy the house? Yes. Should the buyer buy the house? Well, why? At what price? And to me, something that I've kind of felt as I've gotten older is, look, time is very, very valuable, or my time is very, very valuable. You can't be getting a discount on the fact the foundation is terrible and then get a discount on your time to fix it. It doesn't work that way. And so, why go through that? Why be in a situation where you as an agent look like an idiot because the inspector comes through and says, how could you have ever let your buyer put an offer on this garbage house at this price? I mean, really. And if you think that inspectors, I mean, a good inspector sees probably 2 houses, 3 houses a day, and they see the numbers. They know exactly what a good house goes for in parts of town. So they know how bad of an agent you are. Your buyers are like, I don't trust this person because they couldn't even figure out this house was awful. But one of the reasons why I'm always at the inspections, because I like to bridge that gap. Like today there was a flex pipe in the drain. Okay. Can't have that in St. Louis County. It won't work. They don't like the flex. They say it creates a space for bacteria to grow and thrive. This is in a sink drain. So that's going to have to be replaced. Is that the worst thing in the world? Is that going to cost like, $500? No, it's not. And therefore it's not worth worrying about. Okay. And then when you're there and you're talking to the buyer, Like, look, this will probably get fixed on the municipal inspection. If it doesn't, this isn't a hard repair. It's, 25 minutes of your time and going to the hardware store. Get it right. Don't freak. That's just it. That's the issue. I found agents that like to find the most difficult inspectors, the most horrible people on the planet, who go around and measure grass height, okay, and complain about that. I mean, these are the kind of people that are just horrid. And then what happens is they make it so that the buyer feels no comfort in buying that home. They don't feel any sort of confidence, and so now you've killed your own deal. And for what? For what? The house was decent. You didn't. Now, on the flip side of that is, let's say you represent a buyer and you're paying attention to the color of the walls and you don't pay attention to the foundation or anything else, and you want the inspector to tell the buyer that the house is awful. Well, you're not doing your job as an agent. You're really not. I really question what in the world you're thinking. Now, let's be serious and let's be honest. I've had one house where I've had to walk on the inspection, and I've talked about it before, but let me just go over it again. The house that we saw was a very, very nice house, and I liked it, and we made a good offer, okay, and we got the house. And so during the inspection, my inspector went up into the attic and looked around and said, "You're not going to believe this, but some animal has eaten through the wood to the outside, and all this is going to have to be replaced." Now, was it going to have to be replaced tomorrow? No, but it was really bad. It was really bad. And we talked to the sellers and said, "Look, I mean, we still like the house, but we're not going to like it at this price. We didn't know anything about this." And they said, "Go pound sand." So we did. We left the deal. That's what happens sometimes. It's not something I'm proud of. I feel like I wasted those people's money, but they would have wasted even more money making those repairs. And this happened a number of years ago. So I don't feel too bad about it, but at the same time, it was at the time I really hate getting out of a deal. I had a deal recently where I'm not going to talk about it because it's a relatively current deal. But anyway, I think that a reasonable question to ask a buyer's agent, say you're asking questions of buyer's agents, like you're trying to choose someone, like, you have to ask questions that are not leading questions. So I don't know how to format it the right way, but what I would do is I would want to know, hey, Mr. Buyer's agent or Mrs. Buyer's agent, if we get a house under contract, will you be personally attending the inspections? There's two ways they can do it. They can say yes, so that they get the buyer and don't care, and then not go and hope that the buyer didn't notice. Or they can say, no, I'm not real interested in sitting through the inspection, and here's why. Or they could be like me and say, yes, I'll be at the inspection, and I really will be at the inspection. I find it to be very important. It somehow, when you see pictures, somehow when you see something written up, it doesn't always translate to an understanding of how severe the issue is. So that's a question you need to ask your buyer's agents. Hey, if I decide to sign with you, will you be at the inspection? Another question you should ask, which I think is ridiculous in this market, and I'm seeing it. Mr. Agent or Mrs. Agent, if I sign with you and we do get a house under contract, will you help me through the entire deal? Or do you go and use a transaction coordinator or something like that, or a closing coordinator? If they say, oh, we're done and we just go to a closing coordinator, be skeptical. Be skeptical, because what that closing coordinator does, they're doing like 4 deals at a time. They're not at any of the properties. They've never met you. They don't really know the relationship between you and your agent. And it usually causes a mess, and it's unnecessary. Plus, again, what are you paying your agent for to work? I mean, what are they supposed to be doing that they're not doing? They don't have time for an inspection. They don't have time to walk you through a deal and help you through the deal to get it to close. These are not people you should be working with. This is my opinion. Did you ask for my opinion? Well, I mean, you kind of on the channel, so what are we going to do? going to do, well, anyway, let's go over that real quick. Yeah. So the inspection today was great. Worked out really well. House was in great shape. The house had just been purchased 3 or 4 years ago. So there really shouldn't have been that many bad things wrong with it over time. I mean, honestly. So it was nice. And I was glad. And I think that my buyer's going to go forward with the house. And I think that's a great thing. I'm looking forward to them having success. So I think I've beat the buyer's agents being in inspections as much as you can. If you have any other questions, you should put it in the comments. You should put it in the chat if you come on board. That's where I'm at. So I've been messing around with like harder transitions lately rather than just kind of segue into one subject and segue into another. I've been more like, because it's easier when I do the editing, and I don't edit the video so much as I do put down the timestamps and I do write up the description. And so these harder transitions to me seem to make more sense. Hope it's not too jarring for you as the viewer/listener. The next thing I wanted to go over is I think it's very important to talk about showings, like when you go on showings. Talk about what you're looking at, talking about how you see things shaking out. And so I wanted to go over a showing that I had this evening. We were in Webster Groves, which is a suburb of St. Louis. It's very close to my house, but I'm in Afton, which is an unincorporated part of South St. Louis County. Webster Groves is incorporated, and so they have their own school district, and it's a great community. So we went looking for houses in that area. My buyers settled on a home, and to be honest with you, from the pictures, the first picture wasn't very good. The curb appeal wasn't that great. I had some concerns because in 2018 they had purchased the home for maybe $350,000. And they had it listed for $490,000. They lived in the house 3 years, didn't do anything to it, and now we're going to be. I mean, seriously. Come on. Anyway, so we went in the house, and first of all, the curb appeal was awful, and they said in the listing, "Hey, this is awful." Okay, they were right. I appreciate that. So, but when we went in the home, it was a beautiful home on the inside. It was really surprising to see the exterior versus what was going on inside. Inside was gorgeous, hardwood floors. There was a formal dining room area. And then there was a nice family room with skylights and carpet. Very, very nice. Sorry, had to yawn. Then there were 2 other bedrooms on the first floor. There was a shower, but there was no linen closet. It's kind of weird. And then there was the kitchen. The kitchen was like 10 by 6. It's very small. They had nice products. They had nice cabinets. They had nice solid surface countertops. It was a nice home, but it just wasn't, where we needed to be. So we went outside. The backyard was great. There was an oversized 2-car garage. The problem was the garage wasn't very tall. The doors weren't very tall, and you probably weren't going to get a good sized vehicle in there. A car would fit, but if you had anything more, it was going to be dicey. The house on both sides of the house had pools on either side, but this house didn't have a pool, and it was in a neighborhood, and this is, I don't know if, wherever you guys are, but have a real problem in some neighborhoods where there's been what I would call infills, which are basically somebody bought a house on a huge lot that was small, and then they put up a monstrous house. So the comps you're seeing in that neighborhood are going for like 700, 800,000. And those are like newly built houses within the past 3 years. And then there's this house. Now, there is a real estate theory that says that you benefit from houses around you going up in value. That if your house is next to a house that is going up in values, so will yours. I don't know if it's true, but it's a real estate theory. And So we just kind of go on. The house, I think one of the bigger downfalls was the basement. For some reason, the basement, it didn't really cover the entire house. It didn't even come close. And so it was just like very small. And one of my buyers is a painter, and they want to use the basement, the unfinished portion of the basement, for painting their artwork. So this wasn't going to work. The kitchen was very small, and there was no pantry, and that's not good. And let me get a drink, and then let's go over something. I don't know that it's intentional, but houses built in the 40s and the 30s, the kitchens aren't that big. And the way the houses are constructed, it's hard to make a big kitchen. And it seems like everybody today wants a big kitchen. And so you've got a situation where it doesn't make much sense to pay a premium to get a kitchen that you're not gonna like anyway. And so that was a problem. The basement being a problem. It wasn't going to be a house that my buyers are going to buy. Now, it's disappointing. We go to a lot of houses with them, and they tend to not make an offer or be interested in a home. And it's okay. It's okay. But what I would say is the question that I have. I'm sorry, I'm messing with my collar, but my t-shirt looks terrible tonight. Look at that. The question that I would, and my collar's all messed up too. And remember, it's backwards for me. So anyway, if you're the listing agent on that home, is there anything that you could have done that would have brought, quote unquote, the right buyers to the house versus our buyer? Well, one of the things that they did was take a picture of the kitchen with like a fisheye lens, which made it look huge. But they got us to go. I thought that the listing was done pretty well, because in the listing itself, it's like, don't let the outside curb appeal fool you. This house really has a great setup, and it did. There was some great plaster work. Hardwood floors were beautiful. The windows had all been replaced. It was a nice home. It just wasn't for my buyers, and so, as a seller, should you feel bad? I mean, was there any price at which my buyer would have bought that house? No. See, it wasn't a pricing issue. And so, if it's not a pricing issue, then what are you going to do as the listing agent? Nothing. You did your job. You got somebody to the house. So, I did eat dinner. I am tired. I'm going to make it through this live stream, though, because we've got a lot to talk about. Now, I'm going to leave that topic to its space. Now, let's move on to another thing that I wanted to share with you. And I've been letting this one go for a while, and because I haven't figured out a way to talk about it, but now I hit the wrong button on something, so not good. So I'm going to walk through this, and I hope that you'll understand. If you're not a real estate agent, or if you are a real estate agent, you may not even understand, but I want to bring this story to you. Not as maybe a little bit as a warning to agents, but also like just as a warning to potential buyers. This is not how you operate in the real estate world. So let's get to it. So I had a listing, and the listing was coming soon. I got an email from a lady that said that she was interested in the home and she would like to see it as soon as possible. I said, sure. I said, do you have an agent? She said, no. She said, I am getting married. My husband lives in Illinois. He's coming in this Friday, and we would like to walk through the house. And since I said, do you have an agent? They said, no. I said, okay, well, I will show you the house. He said, great, thanks. I was talking, and then but before that, they asked for the disclosures. So I sent over the disclosures, and then they said, well, we want to know how old the HVAC is. And I said, I don't have to tell you how old the HVAC is. I don't have to tell you anything of that. there's nothing in the disclosure. They were upset because in all of my listings, I do the fireplaces as is. The reason being, you could get 50 fireplace inspectors over there. Sometimes it's hard during the winter to even get one over there. 50 of them would tell you the exact different thing to do. There'd be 50 different answers on what you need to do with a chimney. And so because of that, I just stopped. We're not fixing the chimney. If you want to have somebody fix the chimney, go right ahead. We're not interested. So that's how that's been for the longest time for me. But anyway, the person that called me, she said, hey, what's wrong with the fireplace? I said, there's nothing wrong with the fireplace. We just do it this way. She left me alone for a little while, and then she emailed me and she said, we're still interested. We'd like to see a showing. And I believe at the time I said, she said, my son is looking for a house and he has an agent, but I haven't been very impressed with his work because he has put in offers on a few houses and hasn't gotten them. And so I said, well, that's fine. So long story short, I meet up with this couple at the house. I take time out of my day to meet with these people, and they walk through the house and they start asking me questions about the home, and I give them the best answers I possibly can. They turned on all the water faucets and everything, which is weird, but whatever. And it just happened that they came with the son. Okay. So now you've got the son who's represented by an agent, but there's no agent around. Then you've got the man and the woman who's I'm talking to, and then there's this man that's apparently the fiance. So when they left, or when they were leaving, I said, congratulations on your marriage. And they looked at me like I was nuts. And then that's when I should have noticed something, but I do remember it distinctly. What they were like. They're like, "What? We're not getting married." I'm like, "That's what you said. That was the reason why you wanted me to show this house." So a couple days later, offers due for the house. I'm the listing agent. Get a text from this woman, and she says, "Hey, do you have any offers?" I said, "Yes, I do." She said, "Well, can you tell me what the highest number is?" I said, "No, I cannot." "No, I cannot." She says, I said, "Here's what I can do. After it closes, I can send you what it sold for." She said, "I'd really like that. Thank you." Well, the offers were due by about 4:00 in the afternoon, and about 3:45, we get this offer from the son and his agent for a good price. And you know what they were doing? They were trying to use the agent to find out all the information they could to write an offer. And they were pretending to be unrepresented buyers the whole time, which is really scummy. There's nothing that I would have told them as an agent that I wouldn't have told them as a non-agent. I'm not that kind of person. But there's agents out there that really, really want to get more buyers. And so in a situation like that, they would have said, hey, yeah, we've got offers. We've got like 30 offers, and this is the top price. And isn't that wonderful? Because they've automatically assumed that person isn't going to want to buy that house now. And that they've automatically also assumed they're going to want those people are going to want you as a buyer's agent. Well, let me tell you something. I wasn't born yesterday, and I hate people that try to game the system. I hate them. There was no way when I figured out what they were doing that they were ever going to get that house. I mean, I would just tell my seller immediately, "Hey, this is what these people are doing. They're pretending that they're not represented. They've been represented by an agent the whole time, and here's their offer." Sellers don't like to be cheated, and buyers don't like to be cheated on either side. And when they see it, when they see how disgusting somebody would be for a listing, it for the most part, if you're close on an offer, you can just go ahead and understand you're not getting the house. Why waste my time? You had an agent. The agent, I guarantee you, could have been there because he set 2 showings and canceled them because you guys were up to shenanigans. I don't wish them success, those buyers. This particular group, this is the kind of group where the son never had to do homework because the parents were doing it for them in school. This is the one where the kid never could, was never at fault for anything, never wrong, always did the right thing because mommy said so. And I don't know the guy was older. I don't think he had a girlfriend, and I think he's not going to have a girlfriend because mommy's going to make sure that she finds the best possible mate for him. And so, do you really want to be involved with that crew? No. So my advice to you is if you want to go and you want to buy a house, number one, don't piss off the listing agent. Not a good plan. Not a good plan. Number two, don't hold yourselves out as unrepresented. You're represented by an agent. Go and by the way, the thought that you would know the rules or something better than I do is fine. But at the end of the day, you were trying to pull a stunt and it wasn't going to work, and it's not a good stunt to pull, and I don't recommend you continue to do it. The fact that the agent is working with your son is pretty impressive, because I don't think I would want to work with those people as a buyer's agent. I'm more than willing to lose business when people are acting in a way that I find to be off-putting. Now, you could say, well, John, they didn't do anything illegal. That's right. It's like they didn't break any written rules. Well, I don't know what rules we're talking about, but I'm telling you, having me spend all my time trying to help you find a house or giving you information on this house when you had your agent of your own, you should be asking them the questions. You should be asking, that's who you've hired. So anyway, so that person, they're not getting an email from me when the house sells. They're not getting an explanation from me why they didn't get the house. They're not going to get an explanation to me if they got a good offer or not, because I have no interest in dealing with people like that. I just hate it. So let that be a lesson. Maybe the reason why you didn't get the house is because we perceived you to be an a-hole. That's kind of where I'm at on that one. Let's move on. Kind of getting long in the show. I wanted to look over this. Let's do the share screen. I wanted to go over our first article. And our first article is, I thought, a fascinating one, because it kind of goes to, no, it's not that. That's Steward Realty. And while that's wonderful, that's not what we're looking at. It says that's bad. Okay. And this is in Australia. And like in Australia, they're having trouble with like rentals. Apparently it's a nightmare. But anyway, let's continue. It says that's bad. Sydney rental ad brutally mocked. Can you see why? Well, no, I don't know why. It says a real estate listing for an inner city Sydney rental has become a laughing stock online. The 2-bedroom property on Belmore Street in Roselle is on the market for $550 a week. Think about that. $550 a week. So it's over $2,000 a month. With brand new carpet throughout, a neat and tidy kitchen and separate lounge room, the house is described as being ideal for those seeking comfort, convenience, and accessibility. But the photos reveal residents may be anything but comfy in the home. The domain ad, which was shared on social media by a local graphic designer, reveals a series of photos with fake furniture clumsily copied and pasted over the original shots. So this person did a virtual staging and just didn't do it very well. Now, I'm telling you, I have seen a lot of virtual staging in the past 2 or 3 years, and it's gotten pretty darn good. It's gotten to the point where it's hard to tell sometimes whether or not something is digitally altered or if it's real. And in our MLS, which is our multiple listing service, the rules are simply, if you're going to have virtual staging, you have to have a picture of the home without the staging and then a picture of the home with the staging. You can't just show all virtually staged. You have to give someone the understanding that this stuff isn't real. But I'll tell you what, it's great. Now, I have never felt the need to use virtual staging in any home. I typically don't even do staging in most of the homes that I list. It's only when the seller really feels like they need to get a super amount of money for a home that they otherwise wouldn't is when we would do staging. I mean, you have to understand staging is probably maybe $5,000 at a minimum. And I mean, is it going to bring you 5,000 more? I mean, yes, sometimes, but for the most part, I've stayed away from virtual staging. And this is why it says, "Is this from Minecraft?" One person asked on Facebook, referring to the computer game where players build their own structures. "This is better than Jurassic Island," said another. "Oh, wow," added a third. "LOL, that's bad." It says, in the opening image, a fake red armchair has been dropped in the lounge room underneath a frame on the wall. While on the mantelpiece sits a fabricated TV above a small wooden coffee table on a peculiar angle. Another photo, an unrealistic dining table with 3 white chairs, has been included in the picture, with the artist's attempt at an artwork on the wall. There you go, right here. There are times where people have questioned the relevance of my job. The graphic designer wrote on Facebook saying, "I can download GIMP and do the Photoshop work myself for free. Why should I pay you?" Wow. It says, "This is a pretty extreme example, but it also gives you some idea what I see coming from the people that make that claim. Just pay the damn professional." It says, the agent who knocked up the images says she gave it a shot. For real estate agency LJ Hooker, was an inside job. "Yeah, I did that." Realtor Mary Adonis told Yahoo Knows Australia, calling it "my little fake furniture." After conceding she was no expert, the office manager revealed how she gave it a shot. "It's from Paint the New Paint, and you can pick furniture." And so that is what came up. "I stretched it out and I thought, oh, this looks all right at the time. And I thought we might get some exposure for it because the property's been dormant for so long. So this listing has been sitting for a long time. So they thought they should virtually stage it." It says, while the home has since become an online joke, she says there's no such thing as bad press. We're getting some exposure for it after all. I don't know that it was going to get such a response. It says someone has already emailed, "Why does the furniture look like it's taken from a video game released in the early 2000s? Well, maybe that's where the application got it from. While she adds that the team is getting a good laugh out of it, she's going to attempt to do a better job today. I used an application rather than copy real furniture and put it in, so I think I better do that. I will sort it out, but at least people are looking at it. That's the main thing." And, you know, isn't it about exposure for a listing? And when I say exposure, let's not forget we had that terrible situation in, where was that? I want to say in California, where a man that was a real estate agent posed nude in the photos with suggestive poses. He was immediately thrown out of the brokerage. I think he was at Compass at the time. It was over $1 million listing, but he was getting exposure for the listing. I've talked many times about how there was like that house that was a nasty house in Colorado where the tenant was allowed to come in and write all kinds of stuff on the walls and paint and just generally leave meat in the refrigerator and things of that nature. And it was a horrible listing, but the listing agent got it in front of the news outlets and was able to get a lot of hype for that house. Sometimes if a house isn't selling, you got to do something. I mean, you're going to lose the listing. You put all the time and money into getting it listed and ready for market, and then you don't sell it. That's not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. And so I'm not going to make fun of this agent for what they did. I think it's funny. I'm glad that she got the exposure. I hope that they get it rented. But it's kind of interesting what people will go after online. And this just happened to be it. So that's about all I have to say about that. Let's move on. I wanted to go to interest rates for a second. Let me see if I can get that right. Okay, so that's that. Let's do this here. And this is on Deerwood Realty, and I have the survey at the bottom. It looks like it came in at 5.45% on a 30-year fix today, was an increase in 36 basis points. Yesterday it was 5.09%. That was the day to lock in a rate. Again, if we can stay, sorry if I'm making you sick, if we can stay right around 5.5%, I think we'll be okay. At least in Missouri. I don't know about the rest of the country. I keep seeing things are not going well. Lots of price drops in other parts of the country. We have a lot more listings than we used to have in the MLS right now. Things are lasting longer than a week. But if you have the right house, people are going to come and hit it pretty hard. Now, how many articles did we do? We did one article. I'd like to do another article tonight. I'm going to do this one here. I think this is interesting. I saw this last night. It says, and let's just go over it. Can you imagine if you had a wild hog infestation and the HOA refuses to let you put up the fence? So here we go. It says Florida community seeking help to deal with aggressive wild hogs. Now, I wasn't even aware that the feral pigs were in Florida. I'd always thought they were in Texas, but I did not know that they were in Florida. It says feral pigs are causing headaches for some homeowners in Florida who say the animals are taking over the neighborhood and destroying property. Now, these animals are they're vicious. I mean, they're not like they do take over a space. It says wild hogs described as aggressive have been spotted throughout Sun City Center and are blamed for tearing up lawns as they look for food. Wild hogs, described as an invasive species by the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, live across Florida and can grow 5 to 6 feet long and reach weights of more than 150 pounds. The animals root with their snouts to find food, which leaves the area looking like it was plowed. The animals don't just destroy property, they're considered aggressive. It says, I was actually in the pool and looked out, and there was one looking at me from 20 feet away. Jim Gilbert, the president of the Neighborhood Homeowners Association, told this news outlet, you just hope that your screen is strong enough. People think it's a joke. Oh, you've got pigs in your yard, but forget about the property damage. Somebody's going to get seriously hurt. Now, this is a problem. I believe it. It says the FWC suggested that residents put up fences to protect property from the animals, but the neighborhood's HOA does not allow for that. Now, think about that. You're not allowed to put up a fence in your own yard to keep the aggressive feral pigs out. It says there really wasn't much we can do about it because we're not really allowed to fence. Some neighbors have fences, but how do you fence something like this that has a quarter mile of lake right beside you? It says some residents told this WFTS that they blame the increasing number of developments for forcing the animals onto their properties. All their habitats are being destroyed by the new developments that are going in nonstop. Trappers have offered to remove some of the animals, and I think that's what you got to do. I think you got to get rid of the pigs. I'm just saying, seems kind of obvious to me. Don't expect the HOA to do anything. Get out there and take care of the pigs. I don't know. So that's what I have tonight. I'm going to come back to this. I don't want to go over anything else. I've had a good night. I've had a good run. I hope that I'm trying to figure out something. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Do that way. I haven't had anybody on my stream tonight to chat. I hadn't anybody ask any questions or anything like that, and that's kind of the norm. Kind of makes me sad. I'd like to chat with all of you, but how many of you know that the real estate channel even exists? How many people know that you can actually talk to me live on the live stream? And I get it. The chat needs to be a little more wild. It needs to be a little bit more exciting. Content-wise, I feel like we're doing pretty good. I feel like we're doing all right. I think it's just one of those issues where you have to just keep going at it, keep grinding, and that's what we're going to do. So let me go over the last couple of things. So this weekend, how's it looking? Saturday, I don't have anything going on at all. Sunday, I have showings starting for an out-of-town buyer. Those are going to start around 10, and we're going to drive all over South St. Louis, down into Fenton. I don't know that they're going to write an offer. I don't think they can right now, but we're just going to try and eliminate areas that are just not. The sooner we can focus on one location, I think the better we'll be. And so that's how I'm gonna do it. We're just gonna drive around and say, like, look at how far this is from work. Is this somewhere you would really want to live? And if they say yes, then I guess we will keep that on the list. And if they say no, then we'll take it off the list. So that's what we're going to do there. Other than that, I think I'm going to head out. It's Friday night. I'm kind of tired. Hope you understand. Just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you on the next one.